My name is Noah Bennett. I'm 30 years old, and during the winter of 2024, I worked as a route inspector for a delivery company in Wyoming, USA. My job required endless driving through isolated highways. One December evening, a blizzard closed the interstate much earlier than expected. Snow buried the road within minutes. Visibility dropped so badly that even my headlights became useless. According to my navigation, the nearest place offering shelter was a small roadside motel called Silver Pines Lodge. The building looked abandoned. Only one window showed a faint yellow glow. I parked beside an old pickup covered by thick ice and walked toward the entrance. The reception bell never rang. Instead, an elderly woman quietly appeared from a hallway as though she had been waiting. Without asking my name, she slid a brass key across the counter. Room 14, cash only. No paperwork, no identification. Everything felt unusual, yet exhaustion convinced me to accept. Before handing over the key, she whispered one sentence. If somebody requests entry after 1 o'clock, remain silent. Those words sounded more like a warning than advice. The hallway smelled of damp wood. Every door carried scratches around the handle. Some marks looked fresh. Others seemed decades old. Inside my room, the furniture belonged to another era. A rotary telephone rested beside the bed. An old television sat inside a wooden cabinet. Neither appeared connected to electricity. Still, both looked perfectly clean. Outside, snow continued falling. Wind struck the walls hard enough to shake the windows. I checked my phone. No signal. The clock reached 12:57 a.m. Sleep refused to come. Something about that place kept my mind alert. 3 minutes later, the television turned on by itself. White static covered the screen. No remote, no power button pressed. Gradually, the static disappeared. A black and white image appeared. It showed the motel parking lot. My truck stood exactly where I'd left it. Then, movement entered the frame. A tall figure wearing a long coat slowly walked around my vehicle. Its face remained hidden beneath a wide hat. I rushed toward the curtain and looked outside. Nothing. Fresh snow covered everything. No footprints, no stranger. Confused, I turned back. The television now displayed an empty parking area again. At exactly 1 a.m., the rotary telephone rang once. A single sharp sound. I stared without moving. The ringing stopped. 5 seconds passed. The receiver lifted by itself. Nobody touched it. From the speaker came quiet breathing. Slow. Steady. Then a child whispered, "He's checking every room." The line immediately went dead. A cold sensation spread through my arms. I locked the door again, although it was already secured. While stepping backward, I noticed something strange beneath the bed. A folded photograph. Dust covered the edges. The picture showed several travelers standing outside the same motel. Everyone smiled toward the camera. One face caught my attention. It looked exactly like me. Same jacket, same beard, same watch. Only one difference existed. The date printed underneath read, January 12th, 1989. I wasn't even born then. A sudden sound echoed from somewhere above. Not footsteps. Something much heavier. It crossed the ceiling very slowly. The movement stopped directly over my bed. Silence returned. Another minute passed. The bathroom faucet suddenly began running. I had never opened it. I approached carefully. Water flowed into the sink. Mixed within the stream appeared a dark color. Not rust. Not mud. The liquid disappeared before reaching the drain. The mirror slowly filled with fog despite the freezing temperature. Letters formed across the glass. He found your room. Before I could react, the bathroom light failed. Complete darkness filled the small space. From the hallway came the faint sound of a key turning inside another lock. Then another. Then another. Whoever walked outside wasn't searching randomly. Each door opened one after another. Closer. Closer. Finally. A shadow stopped beneath my doorway. The handle moved very slowly, yet I heard no attempt to force it. Instead, a calm voice spoke from the opposite side. "Mr. Bennett, you already checked in yesterday." My heart nearly stopped. Yesterday. I had never been there before. Or, at least, that's what I remembered. My hand froze on the edge of the bed. Every memory inside my mind insisted this was my first visit. Yet the stranger outside sounded completely certain. The hallway became silent. After several minutes, the presence disappeared. Morning finally arrived. Sunlight entered through cracked curtains. Everything looked ordinary, almost peaceful. I packed my backpack, grabbed the room key, and walked toward reception. The front desk stood empty. No elderly woman, no luggage, no footprints. Only an old guest register rested beside a dusty lamp. Curiosity defeated caution. I opened the first page. Names stretched across several decades. Business travelers, tourists, hunters, families. Many signatures ended with the same sentence. Leaving after breakfast. None contained a checkout time. Near the final pages, I found another entry. My breathing almost stopped. Noah Bennett, room 14. Arrival date. Yesterday. The handwriting matched mine perfectly. I had never written it. A cold breeze crossed the lobby. The front door slowly opened without anyone touching it. Outside, my truck waited beneath fresh snow. Relief washed over me. I hurried across the parking area. The engine started immediately. For the first time since arriving, hope returned. I drove toward the highway. 20 minutes passed, then 30. The same broken gas station appeared again. I frowned. Perhaps I had taken a wrong turn. I kept driving. Another half hour disappeared. A faded wooden sign emerged through drifting snow. Silver Pines Lodge. 1 mile. My stomach tightened. That wasn't possible. I never turned around. Still, the motel stood ahead, exactly where it had been before. Panic replaced every logical thought. I pressed the accelerator harder. The speedometer climbed. The building vanished behind me. Minutes later, the identical sign returned. This cycle repeated several times. Every direction led back. Eventually, fuel dropped near empty. With no other choice, I parked beside the entrance again. The front door opened before I reached it. The elderly woman waited inside. Her expression showed no surprise. She quietly placed the brass key onto the counter. Room 14. Same key. Same number. This time, I refused. I already stayed here. She slowly smiled. No, you never left. Those words echoed inside my head. She pointed toward a large mirror hanging behind reception. I looked. The reflection showed every object inside the lobby. Desk, lamp, clock, guest register. One detail was missing. Me. Nothing stood where I should have appeared. My heartbeat became painfully loud. I stepped closer. Still nothing. Only empty space. Behind the reflection, several human shapes stood at the end of the hallway. Men, women, children. Their faces looked pale. Every pair of eyes remained fixed upon the invisible place where I should have been. Without warning, every figure raised one hand together, not waving, pointing toward the guest register. I slowly opened it again. New writing spread across the final page. The ink looked fresh. Departure. Never completed. The paper beneath those words felt damp. As I touched it, another page slipped loose. Hidden underneath rested dozens of photographs. Every picture showed different visitors, different years, different seasons. Each person smiled beside room 14. The final image had been taken only moments earlier. It showed the motel entrance. Snow continued falling. The truck remained parked outside. Standing beside the vehicle was me, looking directly toward the camera. Except I wasn't smiling. My expression showed absolute terror. A hand rested on my shoulder. Someone had been standing behind me. The camera captured only that hand. Long fingers, gray skin. No visible owner. I dropped every photograph and ran outside. The parking lot had changed. My truck no longer existed. Instead, rows of abandoned vehicles stretched across the snow. Each carried faded license plates from different American states. Some looked decades old. Others appeared almost new. Every windshield contained a thin layer of frost. Inside several cars, suitcases still waited on the seats. Nobody had returned. The wind suddenly stopped. Complete silence surrounded everything. Then every headlight switched on together. Hundreds of beams illuminated the motel. Engines remained off. Only the lights burned. One by one, driver doors slowly opened. No person stepped out. Empty interiors faced me. An unseen force invited another arrival. I turned toward the highway. Nothing remained. The road had disappeared. Only endless white ground surrounded the property. No mountains, no trees, no telephone poles, just snow. Behind me, the elderly woman quietly spoke. "Breakfast begins soon." I refused to look back. Months later, according to my family, search teams never located me. Authorities eventually closed the investigation. My truck was never recovered. Every winter, travelers crossing that region report seeing a lonely roadside motel that doesn't appear on any official map. Some stop for warmth. Most continue driving. A few disappear without leaving any trace. If those stories are true, one empty room is probably waiting. Room 14. And the guest register still has space for another signature.